Okay, we are back in the studio. We have eaten the waffles. We have seen the light, and
We've both been eliminated.
we've both been eliminated, and we've survived to tell the tales.
Yep, we're here.
So we're
for
here
you guys.
for better or for worse. We're here back on the mics for you all. Definitely talking ALCS. Definitely talking Waffle House. Getting Caden Irwin on the show. World Series is looming. Tickets are, of course, available to the MLW World Series now. That is happening at AT&T Stadium on November 2nd. Tickets are available on sitickets.com/MLW. And this is a good one. Long pod. You guys love the long pods. PB probably doesn't so much, but it should be a fairly quick edit. We got Caden on the FaceTime audio. And good pod.
Yeah.
It was fun to summarize, I think. Probably felt good to summarize your season. Kind of both could reflect on very similar years that we had as both managers and players.
Exactly.
And then getting some closure, of course, on the Waffle House chapter, which has been the recurring theme alongside Fuzzy Numbers this year on the pod. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is the Pipe It Up podcast, and cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. A lot to get into today. I have Jack to my left, and we are joined by Caden Irwin on the phone with us today. He will not be on camera. He's on the job, I believe. But Caden, thank you for joining us nonetheless.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I am on the job, so don't get me fired.
Yeah, I'll try not to. That's why I don't have you on camera right now. What are you up to? Let the people know.
We are hosting a soccer game. It's tournament play for state finals and stuff. So our high school is hosting, and I'm the assistant AD, so I'm here running it.
Are you assistant AD or assistant to the AD?
Assistant to the AD sounds better. sounds more accurate, I should say.
Okay, sounds more accurate. Well, first and foremost, congratulations on what's arguably your best performance, I'd say, in your history as a player in this league since, this is your fifth season now, I think, somewhere along those lines, fourth or fifth season. So congrats. And unfortunately,
Thanks.
It was at my co-host's expense to my left here, but with the Mallards, we never experienced a postseason series win. So I just wanted to ask you how it felt for you as a pitcher to get your first playoff win, but also your first playoff series win as a player.
It was awesome. I think I got more excited after game one than any other game that I've pitched, and the job wasn't done yet. So, with the Mallards, we won games in the postseason, but never a series win. So it felt good to, finally we made it kind of feeling. But we're not done yet. We've got the ALCS coming up. So we enjoyed it, but, next one up.
Next one up. I like that. I was a little bit salty. I was very happy for you. I was like, I wish I could have got one with Caden. And
yeah, definitely.
You were like the standout player of the day, as Kyle said in the post-game interviews. I'm assuming you were well aware that you were going to be starting game one. Did you know if you pitched well, you were also going to go game two, or was that up for debate coming into the series?
Honestly, we don't talk much about what's going on until we get there.
It's vibes.
Classic.
Because we just don't know who's even going to show up half the time. So, I shouldn't say it like it's that bad. We know, but it's the day before, we don't have this person or this person. So we just kind of get there and, feel it out. Barron and I are good at figuring out who is using the ball better. But I did know for sure that I was going to pitch game one. I didn't know about game two though. So it was cool to, have the confidence from the guys to put me back out there. If we don't win that game two, I don't know what we do. Seeing someone 3 times in a row is not easy. So I don't know. I think it worked out pretty well for us.
What was Barron's reaction when Drew gave you the nod in game one and game two? I know he's had sort of an up and down year compared to years past for him. Was he supportive of you, or was he, maybe a little upset that he wasn't getting the nod in the big playoff series? How did that go?
He's always super supportive. We support each other no matter what. I think too, him hitting has helped a lot. He's put a lot of focus into that. But I'm pretty sure no matter what happens, as long as we win the game, all of our guys are going to be happy no matter what. Like our spot is in the lineup or whatever we're doing. So yeah,
Sweet.
I mean, he always gives me full support.
That's good.
Makes sense.
I think that's very important to just the team, the vibes.
The vibes.
And the Cobras are the vibe tribe.
vibe
so
tribe.
it doesn't surprise me to hear that, and I know
That's what we're all about.
Yeah, and I know what kind of guy Barron is, so it doesn't surprise me in the least. But I gotta ask the question that I think everyone wants to hear asked before we lose too many people on this podcast, before the retention goes down the drain.
Right. What was it like giving up hits to the only guy in MLW who didn't have hits yet?
That's true.
No, that wasn't the question.
No, but I want to hear. I want to hear that answer first.
Honestly, like, you know, when I'm out there, I'm just like kind of taking mental notes on what to throw people. And when you hit the first one, I was like, all right, slider's just not. It's gonna be my throwaway pitch. Like, I'm gonna try to throw it out of the plate. I threw a drop ball and you hit it again, the second one that you put in play, and I was like, man, you know what? Where's Jack been this whole year? Like, this guy's hitting everything I can throw at him.
Hey, you're telling me.
So, I mean,
Where has he
props
been?
to you.
Where has he been all year? Jack, congratulations.
Show up in the playoffs, Jack.
Thanks, guys.
He got some hits. I got to give him some props. Didn't go his way in the end, but he did what he could do to keep his team alive.
Give him the real question.
Like you said on the Waffle House pod, batting 1,000 in the playoffs this year.
This is true.
That's right.
This is true. Not many people can say that.
Nope.
The question I was going to ask before I was welcomely interrupted by my host. I was lovingly interrupted by my co-host. Is about Grant Miller. Was there? I'm very much assuming that there was a conversation between you, Drew, the Cobras, that we're not going to let this guy beat us, and I really can't blame you for it if you want to win that series. I don't think Jack can blame you for it if you want to win that series. Was there ever because Kyle was kind of talking about how, like with guys on base here, Grant might have to be thrown to and that sort of thing. Was there ever a scenario where Grant was going to get pitched to in this series?
To be honest, I don't think so. Like, I think even it might have been a Barry Bonds treatment. Like, you know, bases loaded, tie ball game. Like, I'd rather give up one instead of four.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I mean, we never got to that point. So, like, we never really talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, based on, like, we didn't talk about scenarios specifically. So we just kind of were talking to each other like, hey, we're putting Grant on anytime he comes up, and that's just the end of it. So, yeah, I mean, we never got to that point, thank goodness. Like, we weren't put in that situation. But I don't know, like, thinking about it now, like, I think we would have to throw to him, like, knowing the outcome, because it was just a one-run game. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll give my 2 cents on it after the interview. I definitely don't blame you guys for taking that strategy. Honestly, got to be able to scout yourself, and I agree with the strategy. I mean, it paid off.
You saw it in the film?
You saw it on the film, and I mean, I had been, you guys who've been listening all year, I had recommended possibly a similar strategy for playing Ryan and the Predators. So now you guys get that opportunity to play them in the postseason. Do you think there's a chance that you guys go with a similar strategy? I'll admit that I think the Predators lineup outside of Cratch is a little bit more star-studded than what the Magic have, but I still think that strategy could pay off. Is that something you guys are considering?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We kind of talked about it like the whole year. Like, there's a lot of teams that we would try this strategy on since we've won this game. It gets a little more difficult when you've got 2 or 3 guys on a team that you could do it to. You know what I mean? It could be like, you could do the same thing to Warda when he's hot, like he was in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, it just kind of depends. I think we'll kind of feel it out when we get there, and decide like what the guys want to do. And when it all comes down to it, we look to Drew. He's our leader, and we back him on whatever he wants to do. Within reason.
Important asterisk there.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
But he's pretty, like, I mean, our decisions seem crazy, and he seems crazy at times, but we talk about it extensively together, and we just kind of
Yeah.
come out with one as a group.
I mean, it's a plan, and like Jack said, you got to be able to watch yourself on film, and I'm sure him and I will rap about it really quick after we get off the phone with you. But
Yeah,
uh,
just
it
don't look at the
does
comments.
it does put Caden, credit to you though, because when you're walking 1 out of 4 hitters, no matter what, essentially, it puts a lot of pressure on you to actually execute and get those guys out that you should get out, and you did that for two
Yeah.
games straight, which sounds easy, but as someone who I've played when I used to pitch a lot, the lineups were much more top heavy than they are now, even.
Yeah,
And that was very much the case where it's like, okay, we can be a little bit careful with a Kyle Schultz or a Daniel Schultz, but like, you got to go right after a Ryan Kelly or a Zach Purock or a Zach Whalen, back then, or a Clayton Price. Like, those are guys you can't afford to put on base because then you are forced to pitch to those good hitters who are going to
Right.
beat you. So, props to you for, you had bases loaded a couple times, first and second with 1 out, and you battled through it. So, I think
yeah.
credit to the fans because they've given you some flowers in the comments, and I thought maybe your performance would be kind of drowned out by the intentional walk thing because that's a bigger storyline and headline, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you did a great job, Caden, in
Thanks.
sort of doing what needed to be done to get that wins because, again, if you are walking Grant but then also are not executing against the players who you need to get out, then your guys' whole plan is not going to work. So
Yeah, I mean when someone else got on base via a walk, like, and then Jack getting hits in the last game, like, it puts a ton of pressure on because you don't have really, because if Grant comes up a second time, like, we're putting him on base twice, so that means only one other person can get on really in the lineup in an inning. So it got a little. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little nerve wracking when I feel like I forget what inning it was, but we walked Grant to start, and then I think Trevor might have been following that, and I walked him, and it
Yep.
was first and second, nobody out,
Yeah,
and
so you
we had
knew
to
there was going to be a
face
tough.
Grant another time, so the
Yep.
bases were going to be loaded at some point. Yeah, it definitely worked in our favor, thank goodness. And I know I mean, the comments are crazy as always at times, but it's out of respect for Grant, not disrespecting like the rest of the Magic lineup. I mean, Grant's just such a good hitter, and we wanted to take the risk, and it wasn't to be petty towards someone or anything like that. Like some may think. It's just
Yeah.
Grant's such a good hitter. You know what I mean? And he's electric. Once he goes yard one time, it's going to be hard to get that momentum back in our direction. So
Yeah, I mean, it's a high risk, high reward strategy, and it paid off for you guys. And to more of Caden's credit, like rewatching the video back, obviously you guys are only seeing the final pitch of the at bat, and I think we as a team collectively, those of us who got the opportunity to have at bats, obviously not Grant, but the ones that the guys that had at bats, probably some of them could have been better. But to Caden's credit, I mean, there weren't very many pitches that we were just watching go by right down the middle. You know what I mean? A majority of Caden's strikeouts were hitting the pipe. There were a few that were on the inside, that got to AJ, that might have got to Curdy on one of them. But, by and large, like, Caden was executing and he was getting those outs when he had to get those outs, and he was making all the guys earn it. So I did want to ask, like, obviously we're all competitive here. The competitor in you, was it at all bothered by the fact that you were just essentially giving, not essentially, you were giving Grant first base every time and not even trying to attack him? Or were you, fully bought in, understood that, hey, it's a game of chess and this is part of it? I guess, like, how did you personally feel about that strategy?
if you would have asked me before I became a coach, I would have, as a competitor, I would have been mad. But since I've become a coach, like, game plan is like huge, and executing that game plan, like, that's the best way for us to have a chance to win. You just got to stick to it and believe in it. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. And the last, since I've been playing really competitive wiffle ball, I've been a coach, and it's just kind of, been whatever like the group thinks is the best way to go about it. That's the way we're going to do it, and we're gonna die on that hill, whether it's good or bad. And just gotta execute the plan, because if you don't execute the plan well, and don't believe in it, it's not going to matter anyway. So, I don't really, it doesn't bother me as much as it would have, like if I were in high school saying the same thing, playing sports. Because I used to think my coaches were like, "Oh, this is like the dumbest like plan ever. Why are we doing this?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm better than this kid. Looking at it now from a coach's perspective, it's like, well, maybe the analytics do matter, and we should listen to that. So,
Yeah, I definitely see both sides of the argument. I think it definitely stands out more in wiffle ball because the same hitters are getting up to bat every single inning versus baseball where there's a 9-man lineup.
Right.
It's like when guys like Barry Bonds or Albert Pujols are getting walked, even with guys on base, or even I think Pujols got intentionally walked with the bases loaded at some point in his career.
I think he did too. Now that you're bringing that up,
It comes down to, again, like MLW, of course, is there to serve a lot of different purposes. Entertaining the fans brings us a lot of joy, of course, as players. But if you want to win the game, how can you? If you're truly a competitor as a fan, if you're a competitive fan who wants to see your team win, and you're a Magic fan who is frustrated at Drew for like taking the easy way out, or Caden for just pitching around the best player, if you're that competitor, how can you fault the Cobras for doing this? I mean, sure, is it the most fun to watch? No, but if you want your squad to find a way to win, I would have to agree that this gave the Cobras the best statistical chance to win.
Yeah.
So although it pains me to say it, I sort of stand with, in a terrible, sick way, I kind of stand with Drew on this one.
I don't really think it's
Just
that.
because it is what it is, man. Like, you exploited a team that was very top heavy,
I don't really think it's twisted or sick at all. I was actually very surprised. I didn't get a chance to read the comments, full disclosure, so I don't know what was said about me or Drew or Caden or Grant, but
get the popcorn out.
But and I'll have to go through those. But Caden informed me on the Waffle House stream that there were a lot of negative comments towards Drew, and I was honestly, I guess, not surprised because I know you guys give Drew a hard time.
That's true.
But I was surprised from the stance that, to me, the strategy was very logical from their point of view. Like, going into that game, I felt, into that series, I felt like if they were gonna pitch to Grant, we had an advantage in that series.
Yeah.
And if they weren't going to, it evened it out a heck of a lot more. And I felt like, honestly, that was their best chance at winning, and it paid off. So, like, how do you not give Drew some flowers here? Like, he took a big risk. And it paid off.
And he knows he's going to get blasted in the comments.
And he knows he will, especially if it backfired. I mean, if it backfired, it would have been twice as bad. But I guess that's kind of my point. Is it's almost like the kid can't win. Like he does that. It pays off, and now they've got they've got a chance to still go to the World Series. Mm-hmm. And if it goes the other way, like, he's still getting slandered. Like, what do you want him to do?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the benefits for Drew, not to derail this Caden interview, because Caden, again, that was a heck of a performance, Caden. But
thanks.
It's Drew has been such a polarizing guy in this league for so many years now. I'm talking since he was, a child to now being an adult. It's been almost a decade probably of Drew Davis playing in this league.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's always been one to receive a lot of attention in the comments, some great, some extremely negative, probably more negative, honestly. People do ride with Drew, though. Let's be honest. He has some core fans, but a lot of negativity. So I think that Drew's almost like, what can you say to me I haven't already heard? It's like, I'm not going to be making any more enemies than I already have at this point in terms of the MLW fan base. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to get Cobra Nation its first ever World Series. Mm-hmm. And for people who already don't like me, what's it going to matter at this point?
Right. Yeah.
So I think that probably played in his favor a little bit in terms of, I don't think it bothered his mental too much in terms of like, oh, it's going to upset some people. He's like, I've been upsetting people my whole career.
Yeah, I don't think that factored in at all to his decision.
A lot of different ways to think about this, and I think it's kind of cool because it's cool to see new things happen after a decade of wiffle ball.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, for the fans that wanted to that think it's I guess cheap from like an entertainment standpoint. I mean, yes, it is for entertainment, but like people also commit a lot to this league to win, like are competitive. They do it not, it's not like we're doing it for, it's not like the players are doing it for money. Like they're doing it for the love of the game and the fact that they're competitive and want to win. So if you had a strategy that was going to increase your odds of winning, like you're going to do that. So
I was just telling you how bad I still want to win in this.
Yeah, we were talking about it off the record.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean it's just a fact. So
yeah. So okay, back to Caden. Is that enough Drew talk?
Yeah, enough Drew talk. Sorry.
I was supposed to be after the Caden interview, but
wait, hey, we're all together, right?
We're all together still. Caden's just listening to the podcast before it comes out, like many of you are going to be doing soon. Caden, back to you. Little bonus numbies. Stats Sean. I love a Monday afternoon Stats Sean text pre-pod.
Yeah, that's great.
He sprinkles me a couple of numbies. Caden Irwin is now fourth in the league this year amongst like qualified pitchers who have enough innings.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fourth place in runs against per 3 innings, and he's fourth place in his strikeout to walk ratio. He's also fourth in pitching WAR, which is wins above replacement, which is kind of a number that calculates how valuable you are to your team. Mm-hmm. Only behind Robles, Allen, and Cratched as a pitcher. Caden, are we sleeping on you? Are all of us sleeping on you?
I mean, I don't know. Like the thing is, a lot of the beginning of the season, I was only throwing one game. So, I mean, I know my innings now have added up to that point. But I think, we might need some more sample size. I mean, obviously, as a competitor myself, like we've talked about, I feel pretty confident in myself to, be able to go out there and give us a chance to win. And every year I've been in the league, the more confident I've grown on the mound. I came in as a hitter pitcher when you drafted me, but I'm more of a pitcher. I mean, that's what I was kind of brought into playing in the fast pitch league that I played before. So, it's just, I think finally getting more reps and getting more comfortable and playing with the speed limit a little bit. It just kind of, has all worked out, and the new knuckleball that I've kind of gotten more confident with.
Is that Curdy who got sorted by that? Who was it? Curdy or Ackerman?
I think Bonham might have stared at one.
I think there's a couple.
Someone got jammed on the inside.
Curdy got knifed. Yeah. Curdy got knifed by one.
That's a good pitch.
I mean, that's just kind of, brought a lot of.
Kind of what I do.
It's just like brought a little bit of a different, because I only had 2 pitches before that, and I've mixed in another one too here and there, but the knuckleball has definitely been able to throw people off, and my arm speed doesn't change. So it's like people think it might be a drop ball come out or a slider, and it's 10 miles an hour slower,
and it's doing the gritty on the way in.
Correct, yeah, and I don't know what it's doing half the time, so it's got to be
bringing the boom on the way in.
A little hitting the gritty on the way down to the strike zone, but I don't know. I think that's kind of the only change really that's maybe brought me into that conversation.
One other change I wanted to bring up was, in addition to the increase of innings, of course, this is kind of the first time in your career that you've thrown the famous Pod Squad knows, the game 1 ball, or the game, a new ball, a freshly scuffed ball in your career. Nice. Has that added to the depth of your arsenal, you think?
I think it's more just consistency, like playing for fast pitch with cut ball and all that stuff. Like when your ball is nice and new, it does exactly what you want to every single time for the most part. So like Jack was saying, when I was hitting pipes and stuff, like I'm more confident, like piping it up.
Thank you.
Plug. It's just like I feel more confident being able to, like, all right, I know it's going to break this much, and I can throw that pitch, and if I just miss, maybe they'll still swing. Because once I start hitting more of those spots, like they're unsure of how much it's going to move, and I'm able to throw pitches that I want swings at that aren't for strikes, which has been like another thing that I've added. Like I'm not trying to throw as many strikes per se to hit the board, more to get them to swing. So I'm trying to get more chase pitches. And I think just having the fresh ball makes it easier to do that.
Fair.
Looking ahead, I guess, what do you think is going to be the biggest factor playing in your guys' favor if you guys are going to be able to knock off the Preds?
Like a key for us to win.
Sure, yeah. Key to success.
Keys. Give us the keys.
Give us the keys. The keys.
I mean, obviously, I got to be able to keep them to a low number of runs.
Yeah, that's important.
That's a key.
There's one key.
That would help.
Next key.
That would help. I mean, I know a lot of people don't think of that, but
Yep.
That's probably key number one. And I think, just keeping our energy up there.
Key two.
Vibes.
Like
Vibes.
Yeah, key two. Like
low runs and vibes.
That's literally all we need.
I'm gonna post on Instagram on Thursday.
Cobra's
keys to Cobra's victory next Thursday.
Cobra's keys to success.
Not give up a lot of runs and vibes. I love that.
Yeah, that's it.
So much.
That's kind of our keys of every game. So limit runs and vibes.
I think you've been spending too much time around Drew.
It helped you guys out in the first round. So
that's pretty much exactly what happened.
That was the key. Those were the keys. Those are the keys.
The keys. Well, that's 3 keys. Is there a third key or is it just 2?
Honestly, I don't.
I think it's
for me
just 2.
personally,
just
it's that. Like just those two. Like you know what I mean?
Okay.
The keys to the keys.
Got it. I love that. That's up there for quote of the year this year on Pipe It Up.
Yeah, that's great.
Caden, final question. Should I ask it or do you want to ask it?
You got it.
You know what it is? It's
No.
the one about. It's the selfish question.
Oh yeah, you ask it.
Do you miss playing with me?
What was that? Sorry, I don't know if you asked me.
Do you miss playing with the Mallards?
Did you ask me another question?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. It cut out for a second.
Do you need to hear it again?
Yeah.
Are you just ignoring me?
No,
Caden, if you don't want to play with me, just say it.
Was it something about playing with you?
I said, do you miss, on the sheet I have in all lowercase letters, do you miss playing with me?
In all lowercase.
In all lowercase.
Yeah, I miss playing with you. The whole goal when I came into this league was, to win with the Mallards, and and I loved playing with you guys, Matt, Jordan, Colm.
What a squad.
Yeah, I mean,
just the squad
beat Easy,
shoulda.
Beat Willie for like a week. It's just,
That's right.
For a week.
It's hard to say that like one's better than the other. Obviously, I love playing for the team that I am now.
Shout out to B Willie.
B Willie, man.
B Willie
was there he came when he needed to.
We did. When we needed that guy, he was there. It was good times. I miss playing alongside you as well. Maybe I should root for the Cobras, then Caden can come home.
Come home?
Yeah, after you get a ring and come home.
Yep.
Who's winning the soccer game?
I believe it's tied right now. I haven't heard a lot of horns.
What'd you say?
Arsenal.
Hey, they have the same keys we do. Limit the goals and vibes.
That's good.
Is that on the banners at Northview High?
I think so. I think that's actually on the sideline on their, they're giving signals out there. Probably one of the college football signs.
I love that so much. All right, Caden. Well, we'll let you get back to work. Congrats on a great series. I'm expecting we're going to see you game 1 against the Preds, which is going to be a doozy. And I'm actually pretty excited about it because it's because of the Cobras philosophy going into it that you're going to get fireworks.
Yeah.
And vibes.
Always a good video with the Cobras.
It really is, for better or for worse. It
always is. It always is.
It's always must-watch TV.
Yeah.
When the Cobras take the field. And you've been a great addition. I think I'm really happy. Like when I trade away a player like Bonham, and he does great on the Magic, and Caden, like now seeing you do good on the Cobras now, like it's great. Do I wish it was on the Mallards? Yeah, maybe it's my fault, but it is good to see you guys succeed. So congratulations again.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate it. Miss playing with you though.
Good. There's my answer. There's my answer.
Someday.
Maybe someday. We'll be dancing at the wedding in a few weeks though. No.
Yeah, 100%. Make sure you bring a Mallards jersey. We'll wear them.
Oh, should I wear it under my suit and then rip it out on the dance floor?
Please do.
Oh, that'd be so
funny. Please
do.
do. That would be awesome.
All right, Caden. Well, I will talk to you soon. Good luck again. And, best wishes, brother.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom. See you, Jack.
See you, man. Thanks,
Caden. All right. Our first ever FaceTime audio call. I like the quality was spectacular.
Well.
Huh?
Yeah, I guess it won't be as great for the visual watchers of the podcast who can't see who we're interviewing, but the audio was fantastic. I
I wonder if there's a translation there, Jack, if FaceTime video would do us better than Zoom. We're not bound by sponsors.
It probably would. No, we're
maybe
not.
Maybe it would.
We're not. We're certainly not.
I'd have to figure out some screen recording nonsense, though, which could get tricky, but we can probably figure it out. I can always figure it out.
Yeah. A couple Googles.
Update, the battery is holding strong on the laptop. This laptop, PB Go wide cam, this baby right here is just, it's like your grandma. You feel like if you just like give her too strong of a hug, you're just.
You might break her?
Yeah, exactly. And that's like this thing. This thing has gotten me through thick and thin in life, and it's been the heart and soul of the Pipe It Up podcast for 4 years running now.
Yeah.
My entire college career, my MLW professional career, the podcast professional career. This thing has done it all. MacBook Pro, expensive computer, worth every penny, but she's holding on for dear life. She's on the fritz.
Right now we're dealing with a charger situation where the laptop is just deciding when it wants to charge and when it doesn't want to charge with the same charging cord,
Correct.
with the same block.
Right now she's going.
It's charging now?
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And guess what it says? It says time
I'm
remaining.
ready to charge now.
It says time remaining till full, 10 plus hours.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But hey,
It's a big battery.
she's still going. It's probably about, 120 degrees under here, but hey, she's humming along. Great series for Caden, in all seriousness. I feel like I was pumping his tires a little bit there, but I mean it. That was a standout performance.
Absolutely, yeah.
Executing the big moments.
Legacy series.
Legacy series, it really was.
Legacy series for Caden, absolutely.
Because again, even when you're walking Grant, you have no margin for error than anywhere else.
Nope.
So it's impressive to see him executing those big moments. Let's cut to the comment of the week, Jack, and then we'll hear from you a little bit on the series.
Okay.
This one, audio listeners, you're in trouble on this one. You need the visual a little bit, but it comes from Sam, and it's a two-parter describing a sequence of events, and it says Grant, steps up to the plate. Caden, then it has point emoji, smile, point emoji, because Caden kept doing that little double point towards first base when he was walking Grant.
Yep.
So I found that funny. That was actually, I think, the top comment on the video. And, a lot of comments about Drew for sure. A lot of comments about post-game and concerns about Grant possibly retiring. It seems like Grant's still up in the air, which is fair given, again, his family situation. He's raising a kid, makes a long commute to these games. So it would be a bummer for sure to see him retire on such a kind of sour ending, not getting pitched to and having the Magic lose the series. But I guess we'll hear more from Grant in the offseason.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Jack, to you, where do you want to start? You
tell me, I guess.
Props to you for not wearing a bag.
Yeah, I wasn't going to wear the bag.
So you're not as shameful as I was in defeat, which is good. I can respect that. Let's just start with the lineup.
Okay.
Because you didn't play in this series to start.
No, I did not.
What went into that decision to sit yourself in a postseason series, and how hard was that for you?
It was very hard. I told my guys at the beginning of the year, throughout the year, that I wanted to put the best lineup together that I felt, gave us the best chance to win. The lineup that was earned, right? There's really no other way to spin zone it. My regular season statistics, I think, speak for themselves. And I just felt like I didn't really earn a postseason start in game one, which was a really tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, I was excited to give my teammates who, out of the guys that were on our roster, they were the ones who earned it. It was kind of the odd man out is how I felt. And that was a bummer. That was really hard. We just talked about like being being competitive and being a competitor and being the one who is actually making the decisions and having to come to grips with the fact that it just didn't seem right to put myself, in that game one position. And the way I kind of saw it was, it's not like we had a bunch of guys that had fantastic averages throughout the year, but I felt like those were the guys that earned it. And I felt like I would evaluate how game one went to see where I could maybe fit myself in the lineup because, I did feel like I deserved a chance to at least play in the series, right? And so after game 1, going into game 2, I had actually, so this is like the you guys are getting the inside scoop of how how it all ran down. So I had actually told Curdy that I was going to bat for him
in game 2.
In game 2,
okay,
and from the start of the game. And in my mind, having watched game 1, really what I felt like we needed was we needed one guy to hit a home run. I mean, we were getting every single inning. We were getting obviously at least one guy on base. We needed someone to just hit a home run. If we got 2 runs, we could win the game. I felt confident that RJ was not going to give up, more than 1 run in a game. He pitched really good in that first game and, let up only 1 run. Like Curdy, his average was I think the best it's ever been this year. He did a really good job at getting on base, and he did get on base in the first game and was putting together solid at bats. But in terms of like the guys who have had history of hitting home runs, Jordan just hasn't been one of those guys to hit home runs. And although, maybe I don't have the same average that he did, I felt like
Curdy 200 this year. 200,
yeah. I felt like there was a chance that I could at least maybe connect with one, and that would be the opportunity. But I was given some advice from the best hitter on our team, who really understands hitting, obviously being Grant Miller, and he had kind of just voiced to me and said, Curdy's actually probably been having the best at bats out of anyone, is what he said. He said between Jordan, Trevor, and AJ, he said, I think Jordan's actually been having the best at-bats out of anyone. So, of course, we were putting guys on base. You guys watched the series. Like, we were putting them on. We just couldn't get that one guy to get the hit to bring guys around, right?
Which is so frustrating.
Which is just demoralizing. But, so anyway, after Grant says that to me, I'm kind of now,
that's when it gets hard.
To be honest with you, like, I'm not saying I should have taken Jordan out, and I don't know, like, looking back on it, I still don't know if the way that I managed it was correct, or if I should have. I think obviously, scoring 0 runs, there's some things you probably think you could do differently, but I also trusted I trusted the advice from someone who
one of the best whifflers in the
one
world.
of the best to do it. So he's saying, hey man, you should probably leave him in the lineup. So now I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm not going to put myself in for the guy who's having the best at bats then. And at the same time, like, I felt like AJ, even though he might not have been having the best at bats up until that point, out of the guys outside of Grant, had the best opportunity to hit a home run. I mean, we've seen it in the past. Like, he's the guy that stepped up for us. It's always it's been him in the postseason. World Series MVP.
This is when it gets so hard, man. I know what it's like to be the manager there. It's so tough.
And Trevor's had his moments. He's gotten some big hits for us in the past. But it's really been AJ who's been the one to step up and hit for power. So now I'm like, well, now I don't know what to do. Now I don't know who to put myself in for, because I think Trevor's having probably some better at-bats than AJ, but I think AJ's got the leg up in terms of hitting, in terms of power hitting. So it's like, who do I pull out? So, 2 innings went by basically then, where I'm like still kind of trying to make up my mind on what to do. And then honestly, it got to a point where I was eventually like, I'm not just going to watch us like lose and like not even have an opportunity to hit. And AJ was the guy that was up for first in the inning. So I put myself in for AJ to pinch. So that was kind of how it, unfolded. I think I've thought about it so much, and you like to look at that the outcome of the series and say, maybe I should have just trusted in my ability more, but it's still kind of like you can't look at the result and and blame the process if the process was right. And I don't think you can really argue that I really deserved a spot in the lineup based on the regular season and what I had done.
No, and this was, Jack, the same internal battle that I was having about myself as a player.
Yeah, we were doing the same thing.
It's like I'm just not putting up the numbers, but me and you historically are power hitting guys.
Yeah.
But it's like if I am the man I say I am as a manager, being those who earn the playing time are going to get it, then what does that make me look like if I play myself over someone who has a higher batting average than me or who is having better at-bats than me, et cetera, et cetera. So this was the same fight that I fought, and then I talked about how pretty much what made me justify putting myself in was kind of the vibes. It just seemed like nothing was, we needed a spark, something had to change, and I think you felt the same way in your last inning of the season, something's got to change, this isn't working.
Right.
And just because, the way you did it, it was gritty, it wasn't like you went in there and put a beautiful swing on the ball and hit a home run, but you put the ball in play.
One was a check swing.
Yeah, but, I mean, hey, it almost
Yeah.
gave you guys new life in that series. It was very close to it. I think that final play, Grant had thought that Duran was going to try to get him out at third and therefore was like, I'm going to score now.
Yeah.
But actually Andy pump faked it, so it was a great play by Andy in hindsight. Tough one to stomach for sure. It always sucks to end your season on a hit,
Right.
and not like a strikeout or a whatever. So just I'm sure it was a tough one to stomach, and I feel for all you guys because it just I see the post-game interviews and everyone's so down, and it's I just did that obviously with my squad too, and it's just wiffle ball is a weird game where the same bunch of guys can everything can click and come together, and there can be all the talent in the world, and then some days you're just scratching your head what happened.
Yeah.
And I think it happens in baseball too more than any other sport, maybe basketball because it's such a mental game. Mm-hmm. And I really, really related to the Magic in this series because they lost. But no, more so just because of the way Jack had to try to manage the squad being a player manager who's also struggling. We had very similar campaigns this year.
We did.
So
unfortunately we did.
It's tricky. Now that some time has passed, is it too early to talk about what you think needs to change next year, if anything?
Well, I think obviously the big elephant in the room with Grant, possibly not coming back is something that if he makes that decision, 100% respect him and support him hands down. We knew his career in MLW was going to be limited while we drafted him or when we drafted him. And the purpose of drafting him was to try to get us to a World Series, which he did. Always a spot for Grant on the Magic. As I think that goes,
and the Mallards.
I think that goes without saying. So whatever he decides, I support him. I love Grant.
Great dude.
I've got to know him obviously over the last couple of years, and can't say good enough things about him. So unfortunately, if he does decide to retire, obviously some big shoes to fill there.
But
so
maybe some at-bats to be had. I think it would be unwise to not try to address some of that in the draft if that were to happen. Try to look for someone who can replace his power, because his on-base percentage enough was pretty incredible, and that shouldn't be overlooked. But really, his power, I think, is what we need. Is what's going to be hardest to replace. Like I just kind of mentioned, obviously myself, I'm very inconsistent when it comes to that. We've seen flashes. Trevor will get you some in spots, but he's not gonna have a 8 home run season by any means. Probably neither will Jordan. At least we haven't seen it from those guys yet. And AJ's, again, kind of like me, it's similarly inconsistent. Like, we've seen it in spots. We've seen him just go crazy.
Yeah, Super Saiyan, just crazy, insane mode. And then we've seen him, also not have that same power in other series. So I think we're gonna have to make some moves. We're gonna have to address that. I think it's a little bit too early for me to say, what I think the squad will look like.
We don't even know yet.
I don't know. I don't know because of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the other guys on my team, what their plans are, or situations. We, other than RJ, are a relatively old team in the league. So guys got lives, guys got things to do. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I do think like it does go. I think one takeaway I had was it really just goes to show you how many things have to go right for you to make it all the way to the World Series and to win a World Series. It made this series, losing both of the games 1-0, made it that much harder to swallow. Mm-hmm. It would be one thing if they were walking Grant and we weren't scoring runs and they were just like lighting up RJ, because we'd be like, hey, it is what it is. Yeah. But he was dealing and he was giving it all he had, his competitive spirit like didn't waver at all. And we just couldn't get one hit, one timely hit to get a run in, even to just extend the game. And I know Grant kind of said in the postseason, it wasn't just about like him or RJ. Like we're a whole team. And I agree with that. Obviously we are, you win as a team, lose as a team. But when you have specific guys on your team that are making such an impact and you have others, including myself, letting those guys down or, not executing like as you expect them to when their number's called, it's just, you feel bad. I mean, you kind of use the word like disappointing last week, I think, talking about your guys' series. It wasn't as much like the feeling after wasn't as much of like disappointment. It was more genuine, I'm trying to think of like the right, it was sort of just like honestly sadness for like RJ and for Grant, where it's like Grant gives that, notion that that might've been his last series. The guy drove 2-3 hours to get there and didn't even get to swing. And we couldn't get anything around for him. RJ drove 3+ hours to get there. Poured his heart out on the mound and, gave us locked it down and gave up 2 earned runs in 2 games and we couldn't do anything for him. And that's just like, you just feel sad for him, honestly. So,
okay, that's fair.
Obviously you win as a team, lose as a team, but, those guys in particular just felt like we, they came to play. I mean, Grant was obviously in the field, but didn't get the chance to do much at the plate, but he came to play. He would have if they would have pitched to him. And RJ certainly came to play. Just the rest of us couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I feel like we could go on for hours about that. I mean, this is a tough one to stomach. And last thing I'll say about myself before we get into fuzzy numbers here is I feel the same way in terms of, I've been eliminated with this squad that I have 3 times in a row now. NLCS, NLCS, NLDS. And each time I didn't walk away saying like, man, they were the better squad, like bar none.
Right. Each
time it's like, we just didn't get it done today. And I think this year was the closest to that, but I'm saying that after we lost a 10-inning game.
Right.
A 10-inning game that if we win, there's a good chance we win that series.
Right.
2 years ago and against the D-backs, we won 8 innings, lost that first game, then lost 1-0. Last year we win game 1, then lose the next 2. Like, it's never been like, man, the Mallards just ran out of gas. It's like the Mallards we just can't win in the big games. So I'm with you that it hurts that much more when it's like the margin wasn't significant. We just didn't, a couple at bats go a different way.
Yeah, it was.
So it makes this sport pretty cool though too.
Yeah, I guess just to add on to that, like it made me. I was bummed out, obviously, that our season ended the way that it did and ended early, but it did give me almost an extra appreciation for the year that we had before and what we accomplished the year before and how how truly difficult that was, and
magical.
how magical it was.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, as corny as that is, like, how magical it was, how many things went our way at the right time for us to be able to do that and come together as a team to accomplish that. So, it is what it is. I think the Magic will probably look a little bit different next year than they did this year. But, again, hats off to the Cobras. I mean, they came in with a plan, they executed the plan, and that's what we talk about having to do in playoff wiffle ball. So, kudos to Drew and Caden and the rest of the guys.
Yeah, well said. I think we'll leave it at that, Jack.
Yeah.
Let's move now into Fuzzy Numbers, brought to you again by our friends over at Shedball. Shedball is a professional mini hoop basketball league with a 9-inch rim, 4-inch foam ball, and 8-foot rim height. They have players, GMs, and real dollar contracts. Shedball, it's funny because it's serious. The first 3 episodes of Season 1 are on YouTube now, and when new content arrives, you will hear about it first right here on Pipe It Up. I was again told by Commissioner Tim Whalen that he has over 300 gigabytes of footage from over 40 Shedball games that are currently being edited, and will be uploaded soon. So, Fuzzy Numbers. Last week, finally, we had a big whiff from Frank. He had been spot on for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Yep.
He had the Magic sweeping, I think.
Yep.
So, not Frank's week, but let's see if Frank can bounce back. Let's hear from Tim now.
Thanks, gentlemen. Tim Whalen bringing you Fuzzy Numbers once again. Fuzzy Frank was not too pleased with me after I told him what happened in the Magic versus the Cobras. I'll just play the voicemail, and you guys can do with it what you will.
Oh, so the Cobras decided not to pitch to Grant Miller, and I'm just hearing about this now? That's kind of an important piece of information, don't you think? I mean, I can crunch the numbers, analyze the matchups, and make predictions. But if there's some secret, we're just going to avoid their best hitter strategy going on, maybe toss me a hint next time. I'd hate to look like I got it completely wrong because someone forgot to share the playbook.
So Fuzzy wasn't too happy with me. He did give me a prediction for Diamondbacks versus Eagles. He thinks that the D-backs are going to get games 1 and 3 and that Dallas will not, in fact, be making the trip to Dallas. So that is the prediction. He has Jimmy Norp going 14 strikeouts across his starts, and that's what he has. Taylor fade that.
First of all, Frank, I mean, some things, it's Jack, it's the intangibles. How you can't quantify Grant getting walked every time. How are we supposed to know Drew's game plan?
I was going to say,
you can't fault us on
Frank,
that.
we love you.
Yeah.
We love you. We love the numbies. We love the predictions and the stats and the scores. But this was a win for humanity. This was
beyond AI.
This is what you can't put in a computer, right? This is why we play the games.
Said.
This is why we play the
said.
games. If we didn't have some humans playing the games, we would just leave it up to Frank to tell us what the outcomes were. But then you got a guy like Drew coming in with a wild card strategy that happens to pay off and happens to be the difference. So, Frank, I love you. I'm sorry we didn't share the hint with you. I would have if I could have, but at the same time, I think this is a win for humanity.
I think this is too. It's with honor that humanity took down
with honor,
the computer.
with great honor.
This
with
is like when
honor.
Dwight outsold the computer at Dunder Mifflin. It's a big monumental moment for society.
It's huge.
It keeps hope in society.
Exactly.
Sure. This week, kind of leading into now the NLCS, a trip to Dallas on the line. This is exciting.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked so much about these past 2 series because it's been you and I getting eliminated that we forget that this is what you play for here. Yeah. So very excited for this Friday's upload. D-backs, Eagles, they were the 2 better teams in the NL this year from start to finish. And for Frank, I'm going to kind of fade him here. I think that Eagles lineup is just too deep to get beat twice by Jimmy Norp. And, I think the D-backs pitching staff is, of course, great. Jimmy and Flood. I think the Eagles lineup is just that much better. And I got the Eagles taking care of business. I'm gonna say Eagles sweep. What did I say? I don't remember what I said before, but I'm gonna say sweep now.
Okay.
Based on what I saw from them.
Yeah. I know I picked the Eagles, so I'm gonna fade Frank as well.
Fade Frank.
I'll take them 2-1. I think that's what I originally went with. I honestly think that the Diamondbacks are a major momentum team, and having a bye in the first round might actually hurt them in a way. I think that gap between playing some whiff at the Meadows might come back to bite them. So might take them a little bit to get started. I don't know if Jimmy Norp will have 14 strikeouts on that Eagles lineup.
Doable, 7 a game. I mean,
it's doable for sure, but I got the Eagles 2-1. Dallas going to Dallas.
How about this one, Jack? I'm gonna tail Jimmy Norp 14 Ks, but I'm gonna fade the D-backs winning.
That would be a great series.
Yeah,
that would be a great series.
I like that little mix up there.
There you go.
Okay, NLCS. Yeah, definitely. Tune in. Going to be a good one, of course. Tickets to the World Series are available now. It's sitickets.com/MLW. Check them out. It's going to be a great series in the first week of November at Jerry's World.
It's coming up.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
Pretty crazy. So, all right, Jack, can I get a little drum roll? Audible drum roll? Waffle House.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to talk about it anymore because it's done.
It's done. What a wait.
Pun
intended.
We did it, and first of all, if I could stand up, I would. I have a laptop here that's as delicate as my grandmother, but standing ovation for the fans.
You guys are the real deal, man.
Jack, I was thinking about it when I was
real deal.
When I was laying on the couch in just despair after this Waffle House challenge. I think this is, genuinely speaking, and maybe I'm forgetting about some things, I'm sure I am, but genuinely speaking, I think when talking about the fans specifically, there has been 4 times where I have been truly blown away by our fans throughout this experience of MLW. Number 1 would be the St. Louis series. That the tickets, the night we started ticket sales for St. Louis.
Yep.
That was the first time I was ever blown away. Not first time, but I'll say number 1 ranked. Number 2, I would say, is the launch of the trading card package and seeing the demand for those on launch day. That blew me. The fan response there blew me away. The third one was the turnout at the Toledo series.
Okay.
And were you there for that pregame?
Nope.
Or no? Okay. That blew me away back in 2021, I think it was. And number 4, I will say, was the turnout we got in this live stream chat.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking whatsoever.
Yeah. No.
My expectations must have been way too low for this, but it truly blew me away.
I mean, I've never done something like this before.
No, we have not.
We've not done this. And you know, Tommy and I were kind of talking pregame before walking in the Waffle House, like what we thought the stream would get to, like viewers wise. And I think you had said like we might get to around like 30 or something, like mid 30s. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like we could probably get in the 60s, like peak, you know. We were at a steady like 65, 70 for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like the first hour of it was maybe a little bit, you know, lower than that, like maybe in the 50s.
It's also 7:30 in the morning.
But it was 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we peaked at I think like 105,
last bite,
which was unbelievable. And I mean, we had people in there actively in the chat that you could tell were watching for literally the full 5 hours. And it was incredible. Talk about being blown away by the fans, just your guys' engagement and support for us. It was awesome.
No, like I said, other things in this journey have blown me away, like getting emailed by Mark Rober and meeting Sparky and interviewing him on this podcast. But in terms of fan responses, that truly shocked me.
Yeah.
This is top 5. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
This is top 5.
I believe you.
And I think it was the consistency of high viewers and the donations we got.
Yeah,
like shocked me.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That over $300 were raised for the Waffle House staff and for our future podcast endeavors, which is great. You know, as a podcast that doesn't bring in a ton of ad revenue, that was awesome. And again, like when we kind of wrapped up and like I'd finished that last fateful bite of the burnt waffle and like just seeing the chat like going ballistic, I was like, this went like you said, it couldn't have gone any better.
No, it really could not.
It couldn't have gone worse, but it couldn't have gone better.
There was a fairly significant amount of planning that went into this, mostly by my co-host over here.
No, I mean,
I kind of just showed up and ate the waffles.
We called a spade though. We said it would be a low budget production if we did it at a Waffle House. The fans spoke, and we gave them that. But like when I talk about all the things having to go right for you to win a World Series. Magical.
All the things went right for us to pull off this stream and have it end up the way that we did.
Yeah.
Other than maybe us, being able to eat more waffles.
Yeah.
Everything went, operationally perfect. So it was amazing.
And that was on no Wi-Fi. That was on a 5G cell network that Waffle House in Ohio happened to have just ripping 5G internet. Yeah. We walk in and immediately the staff is like, "Oh, you doing the Waffle House challenge?" And she was totally okay with it.
Awesome, yeah.
The, dozens of people
Shout out Alyssa.
The dozens of people, families who enjoyed their breakfast or lunch at Waffle House didn't even bat an eye at us.
No, weren't even concerned.
No weird looks.
I'm laying in the booth, laying down in the booth, and I don't think anyone batted an eye.
Yeah, Caden Irwin came and hung out. We had fans that were door dashing in waffles and eating alongside us, helping us out. Shout out to Noah in Seattle, I believe is who that was.
Kamish came by and
ate a few. It was something that was awful, and in a again, sick and twisted way, I'm sort of glad I did it because I was curious about how much I could eat, and now I know. And I guess we're going a little long here, but to summarize my performance, guys, it was humbling, for sure. But I got to call someone out. Matt Self, Instagram, Matt Self, you listening to this? He said that he could eat 5 in the morning before work. These are rookie numbers. Me eating 5, Jack eating 6. Matt, you're lying.
Yeah, there's no way.
You're lying. I can tell you right now. We need
video evidence of you going to a Waffle House and downing 5 of these before work because it would not happen. It would not happen.
Again, I'm a passionate guy about food, as you guys know.
PB helped us out too.
Shout out to PB. I'm a passionate guy about food. I could talk about this for another hour. But to try to be concise here in a couple minutes, truly, Jack, as someone who often overeats and does that, I do, and so do you. We do eat relatively clean. So I eat high quantities of like chicken and rice and avocados and like things that are pretty good for the body, but I probably eat too much in one sitting often. Mm-hmm. This is a totally different ball game when you're just eating carbs and sugar as your only meal of the day. And there's a moment in the stream, I don't know if I could ever find it, probably. I think it was during my 4th waffle. You'll notice, like, I'm about to take another bite, and I, like, drop the fork, and I'm like, oh, my body truly experienced a sensation that it never has before. In terms of, like, it wasn't like I felt overly stuffed. I always feel stuffed. Like, Thanksgiving dinner, you feel stuffed. I was stuffed, but it almost was like my brain, like, felt nauseous. It just felt off. Like, I've never experienced a feeling like that from food or anything. And then ever since that moment happened in my head, where I think it was like my body telling my brain, like, no more sugar, no more carbs, like, you're done.
Yeah.
Then I, like, couldn't swallow the waffles. Mm-hmm. And when I say I couldn't swallow the waffles, like, I'd force myself to put the bite in my mouth. I wouldn't like how it tasted anymore. And I would just chew and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. And, like, I just couldn't, like, usually your body's natural thing when you eat, right, is you put a bite in your mouth, chew and swallow, and you keep going.
Yeah.
I was just chewing and chewing and chewing, and it just felt like I was chewing on a piece of leather.
Yeah.
I couldn't, unless I, like, really thought hard about it, I couldn't get my body to swallow the food. Yeah. Like, it just didn't want any more.
Nope.
No matter what I was telling myself, just, like, get through it. I kept telling you guys, because people were donating money, like, Tom, finish the waffle. And you were saying that. I'm like, Jack, I can't do it. Like, my body is telling me no.
Yeah, I did not want to see you puke on the table, and I think that was a possibility.
I don't know. Yeah, it was just.
If you would, I will say the level of what's the right word here? Tommy got screwed with the waffles that he got for his 4th and 5th waffle. They were, not only were they burnt, but it was like someone had dumped an extra like half cup of the batter that like oozed out, and so it was like on the outside of the iron. So the waffle was like 1 1/3 waffle, like both of them. So it was a lot of waffle, and they were burnt, which was not good.
Let's not say they were burnt. They were burnt.
They were well
done.
They were well done.
And I'm a soggy waffle.
And
guy.
all the rest of them were very nicely cooked.
Yeah.
Very nicely cooked. So, yeah, Tommy kind of got screwed there.
Short end of the stick.
I'll give him that. I don't think it went as far as the eating went. I don't think it went how we thought. I had a very my strategy kind of changed throughout. I was going mostly dry because I was like, the syrup's gonna ruin it.
I think
like the sugar will ruin it, and then
I
think probably halfway through my second one, I was like, I can't do this dry. Like I won't be able to swallow.
I think that might have saved you in the long run, though.
I think it did. I think
you
had
way better stamina than me.
On the sixth waffle, I just put butter on it. I put syrup on it. I was like, whatever we can do to get this thing down, I'm gonna get it down. So I do think that it paid off in the end.
I think it did too, because
you were going full syrup right away.
And I was trying to be a little bit cautious of it, but I cruised through 3.5 waffles, cruised. And Jack was like, oh my God, maybe Tommy is really him with this food stuff. Yeah. And then quickly things changed. And I don't expect anyone to go back and watch the whole 5.5 hour stream. There's a chance that I could put together like a little vlog snippet thing of it. I don't know if we have enough or if I even have the time and means to do so. I will say one thing I learned, Jack, is I guess you can't really bank on this, but maybe we could. And now we have some bleed over. But I think what I would do differently now is because our fans seem to ride with us in these live streams, I think we should pay someone to come and like vlog it the whole time. Because like the expectations of me and you to like interact with chat, but also vlog and do it, like it just didn't really work.
Yeah, it was hard.
It was hard. So I think, floating a friend, $100 to come hang out with us for the day would be worth it to get some extra footage. And
yeah, that's a good idea. I'm not doing that challenge again.
No, me neither.
Yeah, okay.
I think me and Jack have already agreed that in the future, we know you guys like to see us suffer, and we can probably be persuaded as time passes. But the time commitment was tough. We got pretty lucky that like a Saturday kind of worked out.
Very lucky.
Like in this time frame that we could do it.
Yeah.
And I remember you called your wife on the way home and I was like, sorry, Sarah, thank you. Like, I appreciate you letting me borrow Jack for the morning. And shout out to the fans for negotiating with us to help us get us out of there a little bit quicker.
Good barter.
Good bartering. But like, I'm willing to suffer a little bit, but make it quick. Like boneless, our Buffalo Wild Wings Blazing Challenge, sure, sign me up. Hot chip, whatever it may be, sign me up. Quick pain.
Yeah.
These stamina endurance challenges are a little tougher just because of pure finite time.
Well, I mean, we also drove like over an hour
too,
which was part of it too. That drive back was
it was miserable.
It was so
nothing I could say would make that drive better.
Tommy driving, I was like dying in the passenger seat. I had such a bad headache. Like the
headache was also
the sugar crash. I genuinely felt sick. Like I'm not lying. It felt like I was getting like a cold.
This is me too. My nose was running. This is how you know I was sick. Like I was saying at the Waffle House, like I just want to go home and lay down. Like I feel exhausted. I went home and laid down, and like I couldn't do it. Like I was so like sick in the head that I had to sit up because of how bad I felt. From about 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., I was sitting upright on the couch, just staring into oblivion at the office on my TV. Couldn't watch football. Couldn't focus. Too much happening.
Yeah.
Had to watch TV. I knew what it was because my brain was just so out of it. So I sat upright on my couch alone, just watching The Office for 5 hours. And then what finally made me the tides turn was Jack was like, try to like drink some tea, eat some food. So I actually ate like 2 pork chops and what did I have vegetable-wise?
Broccoli.
Oh, it was zucchini squash. Just a little plate of just meat and vegetables, no carbs. And I felt tremendously better after that.
Yeah.
I think my body just having no protein, no nutrients, nothing all day was part of the reason I felt so awful.
It was a very weird feeling because you put away so many calories that your mind is telling you like you have no sustenance in your body like whatsoever. Like you need to put something of value in your system, but at the same time you're like not really hungry. So it was a very weird feeling.
But again, it made me feel way better.
It did make me feel better. I ate quicker after that than I thought I would.
Me too.
Also would say I thought it was gonna like ruin my Sunday and like today, my Monday too. And I honestly, I feel relatively
No,
fine
me too.
today.
How'd you sleep on Saturday night?
Better than I thought I would.
I slept tremendous.
Yeah, better than I thought.
I was out at 10 p.m. and I slept soundly.
We
till
were up really
7:45.
early, so
I was up. I got up at 4 o'clock to go work out.
yeah.
But yeah, just again, for those of you, let me just to wrap this up here. It was awesome. For those of you who joined us, thank you. Thank you for donating, supporting, interacting with us. It made it not super boring and miserable, which it had every reason to be.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was a fun addition to this year's pod, and that's pretty much it. Like it was just cool. I guess we had never like done a YouTube live stream before. Took a little risk, and it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out great. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it was successful and that we did it. I think we'll try to do, some exciting streams in the future, not related to eating waffles. And maybe not 24-hour challenges.
Yeah.
But we'll see how we can get you guys involved.
Yes, for sure. Let us start firing away ideas for next year.
Yeah.
And maybe next year we won't tie.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Eagles
it worked out
Mallard
that way.
series.
But I think it almost was poetic.
We'll always look back on that.
We will. That would have been just me.
I still would have helped you out, but
Yeah.
I probably would have given you 2 and then quit.
Yeah, that would have been fair. But what a week for Pipe It Up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The best is yet to come for wiffle ball. We got 2 championship series and the World Series, so
Yes, sir.
definitely stay tuned in. And we will see you guys all in the coming weeks. Alec Ward just ran his second marathon of his life on Saturday, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Pipe it up, 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 pipe it up.